Today, we're talking about something that people often misunderstand: appearance. Not the kind of social mask you wear to impress others. Not about trying to look perfect in the eyes of the world, but about the respect you show to your own body and the image you carry with you every single day. Because the way we dress, the way we speak, the way we carry ourselves, these are reflections of how much we value the life we're living. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Don't waste your time discussing what a good man should be. Be one." The same goes for appearance. Stop debating about first impressions. Instead, become that impression. Time is too precious to spend belittling ourselves. The moment has come to show up in the world with dignity. Not for validation, but for self-respect. There's one thing we constantly underestimate, yet it speaks louder than words. That thing is our appearance. Many people believe that caring about how you look is shallow, that grooming yourself, dressing neatly, or keeping your body healthy is nothing more than vanity or a desire to be admired. But is that really the truth? Your appearance is silent speech. Without uttering a word, it tells the world how much you value yourself. When someone walks out of their home wearing clean clothes, smelling fresh, with hair combed and tidy, it doesn't always mean they're fishing for compliments. It could mean they understand their body isn't something to be ignored. They know they are worthy, and so they choose to honor themselves instead of letting laziness or indifference define them. In Stoic philosophy, we're taught to separate what's within our control from what is not. Appearance falls into the category of things we can control. You can't control how others judge you, but you can control how you present yourself. You can't control the features you were born with, but you can control your cleanliness, your neatness, and your manner of dress. And if we neglect the very things that are within our control, how can we ever expect the world to respect us? Epictetus once said, "When you recognize your own worth, you will not allow yourself to slip into laziness or disorder." Appearance is the physical proof of that awareness. It's not about looking better than anyone else. It's about looking aligned with the value you hold for yourself. So ask yourself honestly, if you truly believe you're someone worth respecting, why let yourself appear as if you've given up? Why neglect your body until it's exhausted and worn down? Why throw on clothes carelessly, as if the way people treat you no longer matters? A person who respects themselves doesn't treat their body as an afterthought. They don't need expensive brands, but they understand that how they stand, how they walk, how they speak, and how they dress, all of these reflect their dignity. And dignity must be preserved, not with arrogance, but with awareness and discipline. Appearance isn't a mask. It's a window through which others see how much you guard your integrity. Even in small things, in a world that grows faster and more chaotic every day, taking care of your appearance isn't just about aesthetics. It's an act of resistance against a careless, disorderly way of living. This is not vanity. This is self-respect. Every morning, when you choose to comb your hair, select neat clothes, spray a little fragrance, and look calmly into the mirror, it's not a meaningless ritual. It's a silent declaration. I am worthy. I am responsible for this body. I honor myself. Only someone at peace with themselves can stand tall and carry themselves with grace. Because behind a clean shirt or a sharp jacket lies a character in the making. That's the difference between people who live with awareness and those who merely exist out of habit. So, from today onward, stop underestimating your appearance. Behind it lies a much deeper message. You're telling the world that you refuse to neglect who you are, and that you're ready to show up as your best self. We live in a complicated world. A world that preaches, don't judge a book by its cover. But in reality, appearances are the very first thing people notice. Before you speak, before your thoughts are heard, before your kindness is felt, people have already seen you. And their judgment begins there. Is it fair? Maybe not. But as the Stoics remind us, don't waste your time demanding the world to be ideal. Study it as it is, and prepare to navigate it wisely. The fact that humans judge based on appearance isn't simply a moral failing. It's part of natural psychology. The human brain makes snap judgments in seconds. What it sees often becomes the filter that determines whether someone is open to who we truly are. This is why caring for your appearance is not pointless. It's not about being enslaved to trends or trying to stand out. It's about building credibility from the very start. Because no matter how intelligent you are, if you show up careless, sloppy, and unconcerned with yourself, you lose the precious momentum of that first impression. Think about it. In a job interview, before you utter a single word, the interviewer has already noticed how you walked in, how you sat down, what you were wearing. In a social setting, before you speak, people are reading your body language, how you hold a glass, how you smile, how you treat yourself. These subtle cues often determine whether people will listen to you or dismiss you. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Conduct yourself as if the gods were watching, because the way you act in silence is the truest reflection of who you are. When you dress with care, mind your gestures, and pay attention to details, you're not pretending to be someone else. You're aligning your outer presence with the inner discipline you've been cultivating. That consistency between inside and out, that's the foundation of credibility." Now think about this. You could be wise, but if you let yourself look sloppy, you send the message that you don't care enough to deliver your wisdom with respect. You could be kind, but if you show up unkempt and careless, how can people trust that your kindness is stable and genuine? Appearance is a form of seriousness. A silent message that says, "I'm ready, I'm responsible, I respect this space, and I respect myself." And when people sense that from the start, they're far more open to hearing what you have to say. Does this mean you must look perfect all the time? No, but it does mean you shouldn't drift into carelessness. You train external order to build internal order. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once reminded us that a person need not stand out through luxury, but neither should they sink into disorder. Appearance isn't meant to shock. It's meant to assure. And assurance is born from harmony, when the way you show up matches the values you live by. So if you want to be heard, make sure you're worth being seen. If you want your message to reach others, become a vessel worthy of carrying that message. Because you're not just carrying your thoughts or your heart. You're also carrying your body, your eyes, your shoulders, your walk, your smile. All of it speaks. So stop treating appearance as a burden. Start seeing it as an act of respect. Respect for the people you'll meet. Respect for the self you represent. Respect for the time that will never return. Because in this life, you rarely get a second chance to fix a first impression. And when you truly understand that, you begin to prepare yourself not for recognition but for dignity. The truth is, our outer presence is the armor we wear in the battlefield of life. Think of the Roman soldiers. Their armor wasn't just functional, it was symbolic. It reflected their discipline, their unity, and their readiness for war. When they marched in formation, polished shields glinting under the sun, enemies often felt fear before a single sword was drawn. Why? Because appearance carried power. In the same way, your own daily armor speaks volumes. When you step out with clothes that fit well, shoes that are cared for, and posture that shows strength, you project readiness. You send a signal that you're disciplined enough to respect yourself and whatever challenge lies ahead. Now, contrast this with neglect. If you let your shirt wrinkle, your shoes decay, your body slump, you're unconsciously telling the world, "I don't care. I'm not prepared. I've given up." And here's the harsh truth. People treat you according to the signals you send. Psychologists call this enclothed cognition. The idea that the clothes we wear affect not just how others see us, but also how we see ourselves. When doctors wear lab coats, they perform better on cognitive tests. When people wear formal attire, they feel more confident and think more abstractly. Our mind responds to the image we present. This means your appearance doesn't just influence how others treat you. It actively shapes your own behavior. You walk differently when you wear shoes you're proud of. You speak with more assurance when your outfit supports the occasion. You act more disciplined when your grooming reflects discipline. And that's why Stoicism cares about appearance, not as vanity, but as self-mastery. You're training your mind by training your habits, and appearance is one of the most visible habits of all. But let's make one thing clear. This isn't about chasing fashion trends or obsessing over looks. The Stoics would scoff at the idea of enslaving yourself to brands or popularity. Instead, the Stoic approach to appearance is about balance. Don't flaunt, but don't neglect. Don't overspend on vanity, but don't slip into disorder. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." That applies to appearance too. You don't need to crave the newest sneakers or designer coats. But neither should you allow poverty of discipline to show in ragged neglect. Dignity comes from order, not extravagance. Let's look at history. Take Cato the Younger, one of the great Stoics of Rome. Cato deliberately wore simple clothing and walked barefoot, even among senators draped in luxury. Why? Because he wanted to train himself not to depend on external validation. But even then, Cato didn't appear careless. He wasn't disheveled or dirty. His simplicity was deliberate, his appearance still commanding. People respected him because his restraint carried integrity. This shows us something profound. Appearance doesn't mean extravagance. It means intentionality. You don't have to wear what everyone else is wearing, but you must decide with clarity and self-respect what you present to the world. Because whether you want it or not, the world will judge you. And if you don't take control of that judgment, someone else will define you before you even open your mouth. Let's go deeper. In many cultures, appearance has always been more than vanity. It's a ritual of respect. In Japan, the tradition of kimono isn't just about fabric. It's about harmony, precision, and the value of showing up with dignity in ceremonies. In ancient Greece, athletes oiled their bodies before competitions, not for beauty alone, but to honor the gods and the human form. In medieval Europe, knights polished their armor to shine not only for battle but for the code of chivalry they represented. Appearance is a language as old as civilization. Every culture has known that the way you look is part of the way you speak. And yet, in modern times, many dismiss it as shallow. But perhaps this is where we've lost something. When you strip appearance of its dignity, you strip it of meaning, leaving only vanity behind. What if we reclaimed it? What if appearance became, once again, a ritual of self-respect and awareness? Here's a practical question. How do you carry yourself in public? Your shoulders, your posture, your gait, these matter. If you slouch, drag your feet, or avoid eye contact, you project defeat. People sense it, often without even realizing why. If you stand upright, shoulders back, chin steady, not arrogant, but calm, you project confidence. You show that you can face what's in front of you. And this isn't just about others. Posture changes your state of mind. Studies in embodied cognition have shown that standing tall reduces stress hormones and increases feelings of power. The way you hold yourself literally changes the chemistry of your body. Appearance is not decoration. It's strategy. Let's imagine two scenarios. In the first, you walk into a room in wrinkled clothes, shoes that haven't been cleaned in weeks, and your body hunched over. People glance, judge silently, and perhaps dismiss you before you even speak. In the second, you enter the same room wearing simple, neat clothes. You walk upright, calm, composed. Your presence is quiet but strong. People notice. They lean in slightly, giving you the benefit of the doubt. The difference? Not wealth, not beauty, not even luck. The difference is care. Care tells the world you are intentional. Neglect tells the world you are adrift. And remember, life is already stacked with challenges. Why burden yourself with an image that works against you when you could easily create one that works in your favor? This is why the Stoics valued order. A clean room, a tidy workspace, a disciplined appearance. These are training grounds for the mind. Epictetus told his students, "Be content to be thought foolish with regard to outward things, so long as you are wise in matters of greater importance." But he also expected them not to sink into sloppiness. Because sloppiness is not freedom. It's surrender. Freedom comes when you choose your appearance consciously, not when you abandon it. This brings us to another point. Your appearance isn't only about you. It's about respect for others. When you meet someone, taking care of your appearance tells them, "I value this encounter." It shows that you honor their time, their space, and their presence. Neglect, on the other hand, sends the message that you couldn't be bothered, that you're indifferent to the relationship. And relationships, whether personal, professional, or casual, are the very fabric of society. Stoics believed in living harmoniously with others, contributing to the greater whole. If your appearance damages that harmony, you're failing a Stoic duty. So when you dress neatly, when you stand tall, when you keep yourself clean, it's not only self-respect, it's respect for the community you're part of. Think of the rituals we observe even today. At weddings, we wear our best clothes not for ourselves, but to honor the couple. At funerals, we wear somber attire to show respect for the departed. At job interviews, we dress carefully to show respect for the opportunity. Appearance has always been tied to reverence, and reverence is a form of wisdom. So the next time you're tempted to say, "I don't care what people think," pause. That attitude may sound rebellious, but it can easily become laziness disguised as independence. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what's in our control. An appearance is in your control. Why abandon it? The real strength lies in caring, not about shallow approval, but about deep respect. Respect for yourself. Respect for others. Respect for the shortness of life. Because one day, time will take away the chance to walk into a room, to meet someone's eyes, to shake a hand with dignity. And in that moment, you'll realize that appearance was never about fashion. It was about presence. Presence that commands silence. Presence that earns attention. Presence that aligns with the life you've chosen to live. So guard it, strengthen it, refine it, because appearance, when cultivated with intention, becomes not just what people see. It becomes who you are. When we think about appearance, we often reduce it to clothing, grooming, or physical fitness. But appearance is far broader. It includes the aura you bring into a space, the energy you radiate, the rhythm of your movements, and the tone of your voice. It's the way you shake hands, firm but not crushing. It's the way you sit, grounded, attentive, never restless. It's the way your eyes meet others, steady, respectful, never desperate. These subtle aspects of appearance often matter more than any outfit. Because while clothes catch the eye, demeanor captures the soul. Let's look at history for a moment. Socrates, as described by his contemporaries, was not a handsome man. By traditional standards, he was even considered unattractive. But people were drawn to him, not because of his features, but because of his presence. He carried himself with such calm confidence and integrity that those who encountered him often forgot his physical appearance entirely. His composure was his appearance. His soul spoke through his demeanor. And that's the lesson. While we can't control every physical trait we're born with, we can control the way we inhabit those traits. That's the true Stoic approach to appearance. The philosopher Musonius Rufus, sometimes called the Roman Socrates, once taught that philosophy must be lived, not just spoken. And how do others know we are living our philosophy? By observing us. By seeing the harmony between what we preach and how we appear. If you talk about discipline, but your body is weakened by overindulgence, your appearance betrays you. If you speak of respect, but your gestures are sloppy, your appearance betrays you. If you talk of simplicity, but you're obsessed with status symbols, your appearance betrays you. Appearance is the outer proof of inner values. Now, in modern society, we face a paradox. On the one hand, we live in an era obsessed with looks, social media filters, cosmetic industries, fashion cycles. On the other hand, we live in a culture that casually dismisses appearance as shallow. Both extremes miss the mark. The Stoic path is the middle path. Care for your appearance, but don't idolize it. Present yourself with dignity, but don't enslave yourself to approval. Train your body and mind, but don't let vanity corrupt discipline. The right appearance should whisper, not shout. It should invite respect, not demand attention. Think of a craftsman's tools. A well-kept tool doesn't sparkle with unnecessary decoration, but it's sharp, clean, ready to serve its purpose. That's how your appearance should be. Not a distraction, but an assurance. Not flamboyance, but readiness. And readiness is something people instinctively respect. Here's a question. How many opportunities are lost simply because someone's appearance closed the door before their character had a chance to walk in? How many friendships, jobs, partnerships, and connections slipped away because someone seemed careless, disorganized, or indifferent? The person may have had immense value within, but if the door never opened, that value never reached the world. Stoicism reminds us that life is short. Opportunities are fleeting. To neglect your appearance is to waste chances you may never see again. So what can we do? How do we embody the Stoic approach to appearance in daily life? First, let's talk about discipline of the body. The Stoics didn't believe in bodybuilding for vanity's sake. But they did believe in training the body as a vessel for the mind. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminded himself to rise each morning ready for labor, because his body was made for work, not indulgence. A strong, healthy body reflects discipline. It's not about size or shape. It's about function and resilience. You don't need to look like an athlete to embody dignity. You only need to treat your body with respect, feeding it properly, exercising it moderately, resting it adequately. This creates not only physical presence but also mental stability, because a neglected body often leads to a neglected mind. Second, the discipline of grooming. In ancient Rome, grooming was more than fashion. It was ritual. Men visited the tonsure or barber, not only to cut their hair but to align themselves with social order. The philosopher Seneca criticized both extremes, the man who spent hours perfecting every strand of hair, and the man who let himself grow filthy in the name of indifference. Both, he said, were missing the point. The key is moderation. Today, the principle remains the same. You don't need expensive colognes or lavish salons, but you should respect the basics. Clean skin, tidy hair, fresh breath, trimmed nails. These aren't luxuries. They're signals of care and order. Third, the discipline of clothing. Again, this isn't about fashion. It's about suitability. The Stoics urged us to adapt to nature and circumstance. That includes dressing appropriately for the occasion. A job interview, a funeral, a celebration. Each setting deserves respect. Dressing with care shows you understand context. Neglect shows you don't. And remember, you don't need excess to embody dignity. A plain shirt, if clean and well-kept, carries more weight than a luxury brand worn carelessly. Simplicity, done with intention, outshines extravagance without meaning. Fourth, the discipline of demeanor. This is the most powerful element of appearance, because it cannot be bought. Demeanor is how you carry yourself through life. Do you walk hurriedly, as if chased by invisible fears? Or do you walk steadily, as if anchored in your values? Do you speak loudly to dominate, or calmly to be understood? Do you let every small annoyance contort your face, or do you hold your expression with composure? A Stoic demeanor is calm but firm, quiet but assured, humble but unshaken. It shows that you are not a slave to moods, nor a puppet to circumstances. That's the kind of appearance people remember long after clothes fade from memory. Let's illustrate with an example. Imagine Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, surrounded by senators, generals, and citizens. He didn't wear the most extravagant robes, nor adorn himself with gaudy jewelry. His presence didn't rely on gold. It relied on composure. He listened more than he spoke. He carried himself with restraint. His demeanor, not his wealth, was his true appearance. That is why he is remembered not only as a ruler but as a philosopher king. His appearance reflected his philosophy. And this brings us to the heart of it. Your appearance is not merely how you look. It's the harmony between your outer image and your inner truth. If there's harmony, people trust you. If there's dissonance, people doubt you. Because the human mind is wired to detect inconsistency. If you speak of discipline but appear disordered, people notice. If you talk about respect but show up sloppy, people notice. If you preach strength but walk hunched over, people notice. And when they notice, they conclude, whether fairly or not, that your words are hollow. But when your appearance and your words match, when your presence aligns with your philosophy, people listen. Because they sense integrity. Integrity is credibility made visible. So the next time you're tempted to say appearance doesn't matter, remember this. Appearance is the outer frame of your inner painting. No matter how beautiful the painting, a broken frame makes people doubt its worth. Don't let carelessness distort your art. Frame it well with dignity, because when appearance and character walk hand in hand, the world not only sees you, it hears you. feels you, and it remembers you. Now, let's turn to a more subtle layer of appearance, the appearance of the mind. Because sooner or later, what you think and how you feel begin to shape what you look like. Anger leaves marks on the face. Anxiety hunches the shoulders. Bitterness hardens the eyes. Over time, the inner life carves itself into the outer life. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to guard his thoughts, because thoughts become character, and character becomes destiny. If your mind is disordered, no amount of external grooming will hide it for long. Think of the people you've met in your life. Some may have been plain or even unattractive in features, yet something about them was magnetic. Why? Because their calmness, their warmth, their intelligence, their quiet strength radiated through their face, their voice, their very movements. That's the power of an ordered mind. It beautifies the whole being. On the other hand, you may have met someone outwardly polished, sharp suit, perfect hair, expensive watch, but something felt off. Their arrogance or insecurity leaked through, making the outer image feel hollow. Again, the truth revealed itself. Appearance without integrity collapses. This is why Stoic philosophy ties self-mastery of thought to appearance. The calmer your mind, the steadier your face. The more disciplined your spirit, the stronger your posture. The more compassionate your outlook, the softer your voice. Appearance is not just external, it is the reflection of internal order. Let's recall an example from Roman history. Seneca, advisor to Emperor Nero, was known for his measured speech and composed manner. Even when facing threats from Nero, his calm demeanor conveyed dignity. People could sense his philosophical training in the way he carried himself, even in the face of danger. His appearance was not merely clothing or posture. It was the tranquility of his soul made visible. This is why Stoicism encourages us to practice daily exercises of the mind. Meditation, journaling, reflection, these aren't just intellectual games. They shape how you look, how you move, how others experience your presence. So the real question becomes, what does your face reveal about your mind? Is it marked by constant worry? Is it tightened by frustration? Or does it reflect patience, steadiness, and awareness? Because in the end, the face you carry into the world is the story you've been telling yourself in private. But appearance doesn't only communicate to others, it communicates to yourself. Think about the mornings when you've stayed in bed too long, skipped grooming, and gone out half prepared. Didn't the whole day feel heavier, as if you weren't truly ready to face it? Compare that to the mornings when you rose early, dressed with care, and looked at yourself in the mirror knowing you'd put in effort. Didn't your steps feel more deliberate, your confidence stronger? This is the psychology of ritual. Ancient cultures always knew the power of ritual to shape identity. Warriors painted their faces before battle not just to frighten enemies but to remind themselves who they were. Priests donned ceremonial robes not just for the congregation but to reinforce their sacred role. In the same way, when you prepare your appearance each morning, you're telling yourself, I am ready for life. I am not drifting, I am choosing. And choice in Stoic philosophy is everything. But what about modern society, where trends change constantly and pressures to conform can be overwhelming? How do we avoid being enslaved by appearance while still respecting it? The answer lies in intention. Ask yourself, am I dressing this way because I want approval or because I want order? Am I grooming myself because I fear judgment or because I honor self-respect? Am I presenting myself to show off or to align my outer image with my inner values? If the intention is rooted in self-respect and harmony, your appearance will serve you well. If it's rooted in fear, pride, or vanity, it will enslave you. This brings us to a social truth. Appearance shapes not only individuals, but communities. Think about schools that require uniforms. Critics call it conformity, but supporters argue it levels the field, reminding students that discipline matters more than status. Think about professions with dress codes, lawyers, doctors, pilots. These aren't arbitrary rules. They exist to signal trust and responsibility. A pilot in sloppy clothes would inspire fear, not confidence. Appearance becomes part of collective order. Even nations understand this. Military parades aren't simply about power. They're about appearance. A disciplined army in perfect formation tells both citizens and enemies, we are ready. We are united. We respect ourselves. Appearance scales upward from the individual to the group to the entire civilization. Disorder in appearance often reflects deeper disorder underneath. Now let's return to the personal level. If you want to embody the Stoic approach to appearance, start with small daily practices. Keep your space tidy, because your environment is an extension of your appearance. A cluttered room leads to a cluttered face. Mind your posture. Stand as if you're meeting the day head-on. Don't shrink from the world. It will only train your mind to feel small. Develop a style of simplicity. Choose clothing that feels calm, ordered, and appropriate. Not flashy, not careless. Let your style reflect clarity of thought. And most importantly, train your mind. Practice stillness. Reflect daily. Because the calmest mind produces the most dignified appearance. But here's something crucial. Don't confuse appearance with performance. Some people learn to fake appearance, to smile while seething, to dress sharp while living in chaos, to act confident while drowning in fear. Stoicism rejects this kind of pretense. The Stoic approach is not about pretending. It's about aligning. When your thoughts are disciplined, your appearance follows naturally. When your spirit is calm, your eyes reflect it. When your life has order, your clothes and gestures naturally express it. That's why the Stoics focused less on tricks to impress, and more on living truthfully. Because true appearance can't be faked forever. Sooner or later, the mask cracks. And when it cracks, people remember the truth, not the costume. So the real work is not only to clean your shirt or polish your shoes. It's to polish your mind. Because the mind is the ultimate mirror. And if you polish it daily, you'll find that your appearance requires less effort. Because it will simply reflect who you are becoming. Let's pause here and ask, why does all of this matter? Why spend so much time thinking about appearance? Because appearance is not just about aesthetics. It's about meaning. It's about using every part of your life, your clothes, your posture, your gestures, your face, your tone, as instruments to live your philosophy. The Stoics never separated philosophy from life. For them, wisdom wasn't about abstract words. It was about practice. And appearance is one of the most practical, visible forms of practice. Every day, your appearance is a reminder. Are you aligned with your values? Or are you drifting away? Are you living with awareness? Or with negligence? Are you honoring time? Or wasting it? Each detail, how you dress, how you walk, how you meet another's eyes, becomes a small test of your philosophy. And when you pass these small tests, you build credibility for the larger tests. When fate throws storms, losses, betrayals, or even death in your path. Because in those moments, appearance isn't about grooming. It's about composure. When death approaches, when disaster strikes, when hardship burns, you can't fake calm. You either have it or you don't. And if you've trained your appearance daily, in the small things, you'll be ready to embody it in the great trials. That's the Stoic promise. Not perfection, but readiness. So take appearance seriously. Not because the world demands it, but because life is short. And every gesture, every glance, every first impression is a chance to embody the dignity of being alive. And in a world that is constantly rushing, consuming, and forgetting, that dignity may be the rarest appearance of all. We've journeyed through many layers of appearance, from the surface of clothing to the deeper reflection of posture and mind. But now it's time to bring everything together. Because appearance, in the end, is not separate from life itself. It is the living symbol of how you choose to exist. The Stoics believed that everything external is fleeting. Beauty fades, bodies weaken, and wealth evaporates. Yet while you are alive, you are entrusted with a body, a voice, a face, and a presence. These are not to be worshipped, nor neglected, but stewarded. They are instruments, tools that either reveal your philosophy or conceal it. So let us ask, what does it mean to appear in the world as a Stoic? First, it means simplicity, not extravagance, not excess, not desperate attempts to dazzle. Simplicity, a way of saying, I am here to live, not to impress. Simplicity has always carried quiet power. Think of the black robe of a monk, the plain toga of a philosopher, the unadorned suit of a leader who wants attention on their words, not their watch. Second, it means dignity. Not arrogance, not performance, not cold detachment, but dignity. The kind of dignity that comes from self-respect. When you care for yourself, others sense it. When you move with steadiness, others trust it. Dignity communicates without words. Third, it means harmony. Stoicism is about aligning inner and outer, so that your appearance is not a mask but a mirror. Your clothes match your values. Your gestures match your words. Your face reflects your mind. This alignment is rare, and that is why it is powerful. Now let's take a step back in history. Ancient Greece gave us the word cosmos, which means order, but also beauty. For them, beauty was not mere decoration. It was order, proportion, harmony. The universe itself was beautiful because it was ordered. In the same way, your appearance is beautiful when it reflects order. Not when it's loud or excessive, but when it is aligned, proportionate, balanced. Roman culture echoed this. Citizens were expected to keep themselves presentable, not for vanity, but to reflect discipline. A senator in rags would undermine the dignity of his office. A soldier with unkempt gear would signal weakness to enemies. Appearance was part of civic duty. Even outside the Stoics, many traditions understood this. In Confucian thought, how one presents oneself is a sign of respect for both family and society. In Japanese culture, the art of presentation, whether in dress, tea ceremony, or even handwriting, reflects mindfulness and discipline. Across cultures, appearance is never just skin deep. It's a language of values. But what about today, in the 21st century, when society bombards us with images of impossible beauty standards, luxury brands, and curated social media lives? Here lies the challenge: to reclaim appearance as philosophy, not as performance. The modern world wants you to chase trends endlessly. It tells you that your worth depends on the right logo, the right body shape, the right filters. Stoicism calls this what it is: slavery. Slavery to opinion, slavery to comparison, slavery to things outside your control. The Stoic approach is not to reject appearance altogether, nor to obsess over it, but to master it. To use appearance as a tool of freedom, not bondage. When you dress simply but cleanly, you free yourself from anxiety about approval. When you walk with steady posture, you remind yourself of inner strength. When you keep your space ordered, you anchor your mind. This is not slavery, it is sovereignty. So how do we live this in practice? Here are a few guiding principles, rooted in Stoic thought and expanded for our modern lives. 1. Groom with discipline, not vanity. Keep yourself clean, neat, and presentable, not because you crave compliments, but because discipline in small things strengthens discipline in large things. 2. Choose simplicity over show. Simplicity is timeless, communicates clarity. The flashiest trends may win short attention, but simplicity earns long respect. 3. Guard posture as you guard thought. Stand tall, not from pride, but from awareness. Slouching trains the mind to feel defeated. Upright posture trains it to feel prepared. 4. Let your face reflect calm. The world is chaotic enough. When your face shows steadiness, you become an anchor for others. Calmness is contagious. 5. Align your environment. Your room, your desk, your digital presence. All are part of your appearance. Disorder outside fuels disorder inside. 6. Practice intention. Before you present yourself to the world, ask, am I doing this from fear or from respect? From vanity or from order? Intention changes everything. When you live by these principles, appearance stops being a burden. It becomes an ally. And in the bigger picture, appearance ties directly into fate. Because you never know when today might be your last day. The Stoics often meditated on death, not to be morbid, but to remind themselves to live fully and intentionally. Ask yourself, if today were my last day, how would I appear in the world? Would I look careless, rushed, and distracted? Or would I look steady, composed, and aligned? Would I appear like someone who wasted life, or like someone who honored it? This is the essence of Stoic appearance. To live each day as though it mattered. To carry yourself in a way that reflects gratitude for existence itself. Let's imagine Marcus Aurelius walking through the Roman streets. He knew every day could be his last. He didn't walk to impress, but he walked with purpose. His appearance wasn't about luxury, it was about readiness. Readiness to face life, readiness to face death. We too can walk that way, because in the end, appearance is not just about what others see. It's about what you remind yourself. Every shirt buttoned, every bed made, every step taken with awareness. It all whispers to your soul, I am awake, I am ready, I am aligned. And that, perhaps, is the deepest beauty of all. Not the beauty of youth or wealth or perfection, but the beauty of presence. So the next time you wake up and prepare yourself, remember this. You're not just putting on clothes. You're putting on philosophy. You're not just combing your hair. You're ordering your spirit. You're not just walking out the door. You're stepping into existence as a Stoic warrior. Calm, steady, unshaken. And when the world looks at you, they will see not just an appearance, but a life in harmony. And even if no one notices, even if no one comments, the truth will remain. You noticed. You cared. You lived intentionally. And that is enough. Because the Stoic does not dress for applause. He dresses for virtue. The Stoic does not walk for admiration. He walks for readiness. The Stoic does not appear for vanity. He appears for truth. And in a world of masks, that truth is the rarest and most powerful appearance of all. So carry yourself with simplicity, with dignity, with harmony, with readiness. Because one day, perhaps today, you will make your final appearance. And when that moment comes, may you appear as you truly are, calm, disciplined, and free.